Welcome to another mind-blowing episode where we peel back the glittering curtains of the world's biggest superstars. Ever wondered what happens when the stadium lights go out and the deafening cheers fade into total silence? How do 7 guys who conquered the globe keep their sanity amidst the chaotic whirlwind of massive fame? Are they just like us, finding comfort in simple, everyday things? Or do they channel their creative genius into something entirely wild and unexpected? Which member secretly transforms into a quiet, introspective artist? And who desperately seeks a sudden adrenaline rush just to feel alive when the cameras stop rolling? Buckle up, keep your eyes glued to the screen, and prepare to be absolutely amazed as we dive deep into the fascinating secret hobbies of BTS.
Number 7. RM, the silent observer of canvas and nature, a leader's secret escape. Can you imagine the immense, almost suffocating weight of millions of expectations resting solely on your shoulders every single day? Where one wrong word or one slightly missed step on a global stage could send shockwaves across the entire world. When you are Kim Namjoon, universally known as RM, the steadfast, deeply intellectual, and fiercely protective leader of the biggest musical phenomenon in modern history, the world never truly stops spinning, and the blinding flashes of paparazzi cameras are a constant, overwhelmingly chaotic companion. But how do you find your true center when everything around you is moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and the deafening roar of 80,000 screaming fans is still ringing vividly in your ears long after the stadium lights have gone dark? For RM, the answer doesn't lie in flashy sports cars, extravagant late-night VIP parties, or the typical chaotic celebrity trappings that swallow so many young stars whole, but rather in a deeply introspective, remarkably quiet, and profoundly solitary lifestyle that both he and the fans have affectionately dubbed Namjooning. This isn't just a simple passing hobby to kill time. It is a literal survival mechanism for his incredibly deep soul, a desperate and intensely beautiful attempt to preserve his fragile humanity amidst the surreal, alienating, and often isolating nature of stratospheric global fame. It is incredibly fascinating and almost ironically poetic that the leader of the group that paved the way for modern K-pop and broke every conceivable global record does not even possess a basic driver's license. While other wealthy celebrities collect fleets of multi-million-dollar luxury sports cars, Namjoon collects bicycles and exclusive museum memberships, finding a profound, unparalleled sense of freedom in simply pedaling his 2 wheels through the bustling streets of Seoul or along the scenic banks of the Han River. He feels the raw, unfiltered wind against his face in a fleeting, precious moment where he isn't an untouchable global superstar, a Billboard-topping artist, or an eloquent United Nations speaker, but just a 20-something guy named Namjoon trying to navigate the overwhelming complexities of life, love, and human purpose.
Number 6. Jungkook, the golden adrenaline junkie, a boxer's lethal strike. When you are universally dubbed the golden maknae of the world's most influential music group, the title is not just a cute nickname. It is a monumentally heavy crown forged from the immense, unrelenting pressure to be absolutely flawless at everything you touch, from hitting impossible high notes while executing gravity-defying choreography to effortlessly charming millions across the globe. Jaeon Jungkook, the center and main vocalist of BTS, grew up under the blinding, unforgiving scrutiny of the public eye, transforming from a shy, doe-eyed teenager into a global heartthrob and a powerhouse performer. But with that stratospheric evolution came an incredibly intense, almost burning need for a physical release, a way to channel the explosive, boundless energy that simply cannot be contained within the strict confines of a recording booth or a meticulously planned music video set. Enter the gritty, sweat-soaked, and aggressively rhythmic world of boxing, a hobby that Jungkook did not just casually pick up, but rather violently threw himself into with a terrifying, awe-inspiring level of dedication that borders on professional mastery.
If RM finds his peace in the absolute silence of a museum, Jungkook violently carves out his sanctuary with his own two bruised knuckles, finding his ultimate, most raw sense of freedom in the sharp, echoing crack of leather gloves slamming against focus mitts inside a dimly lit gym. Imagine the sheer psychological weight of knowing that every single move you make is analyzed by millions. Boxing provides Jungkook with a highly controlled, brutally honest environment, where the only thing that matters is the immediate, visceral connection between his mind, his muscles, and the heavy bag swinging in front of him.
Number 5. Jin, the master of patience, catching silence in the deep blue. When we talk about Kim Seok-jin, universally adored as the undeniably charming and wildly charismatic, worldwide handsome of BTS, our minds instantly conjure up images of dazzling red carpets, flawless vocals, flying kisses, and an endlessly bright, effervescent personality that effortlessly lights up any room he walks into. But what most people fail to realize is the immense, unspoken, and incredibly heavy burden that comes with being the eldest brother of the most famous musical group on the planet. For years, Jin has taken it upon himself to be the emotional anchor, the relentless mood maker, and the dependable pillar of strength for his 6 younger members, constantly hiding his own deep-seated anxieties, exhausting fatigue, and personal insecurities behind a meticulously crafted veil of lighthearted dad jokes, booming laughter, and exaggerated confidence. But when the grueling world tours finally come to a temporary halt, and the crushing weight of constantly having to be on becomes too much even for his incredibly broad shoulders to bear, Jin does not seek out extravagant luxury resorts or high-profile celebrity gatherings to unwind. Instead, he packs his bags, grabs his trusted fishing rod, and completely vanishes into the vast, unforgiving, yet profoundly comforting embrace of the open ocean. Fishing is not just a casual weekend pastime for Kim Seok-jin. It is a vital, deeply philosophical, and profoundly therapeutic escape mechanism that literally saves his sanity in an industry that demands perfection every single second of the day. Imagine the jarring, almost surreal contrast. A man who regularly performs for 80,000 screaming, adoring fans in... Number 4. Suga, the meticulous craftsman, carving peace from raw timber. When we dare to delve into the complex, wildly fascinating, and intensely deep psyche of Min Yoongi, globally celebrated under the legendary monikers of Suga of BTS and the fiercely independent, violently raw underground king August D, we are immediately confronted with a mesmerizing paradox of a man who contains absolute multitudes, seamlessly blending the biting, aggressive swagger of a seasoned hip-hop veteran with the quiet, profound wisdom of an ancient philosopher. For over a decade, Yoongi has willingly chained himself to his dimly lit, heavily soundproofed recording studios, affectionately named the Genius Lab, spending thousands upon thousands of grueling, agonizingly lonely hours, obsessively tweaking microscopic audio frequencies, writing gut-wrenching lyrics about depression, societal pressure, and burning ambition, and single-handedly crafting the monumental sonic foundations that skyrocketed BTS to unprecedented, history-making global superstardom. But when your entire existence, your literal lifeblood and primary source of income, is entirely dependent on constantly extracting the deepest, most painful, and most vulnerable parts of your own soul to feed an endlessly ravenous global audience of millions, where do you go to simply breathe, to completely empty your violently overactive mind, and to safely hide from the deafening, earth-shattering roar of 80,000 screaming fans that continuously rings in your ears? For Yoongi, a man whose brilliant brain never truly stops calculating, analyzing, and composing.
Number 2. Jimin, the midnight wanderer, finding solace under the silent moon. When we deeply analyze the breathtaking, awe-inspiring trajectory of Park Jimin, the universally acclaimed main dancer and remarkably unique lead vocalist of BTS, we are immediately confronted with a deeply poignant, almost heartbreakingly intense story of absolute, unrelenting self-sacrifice and a terrifying, obsessive pursuit of absolute perfection that borders on the superhuman. Since the agonizing, highly uncertain pre-debut days, where he was famously almost cut from the final group lineup multiple times, Jimin's entire existence has been heavily defined by a grueling, punishing work ethic, famously sleeping a mere 2 hours a night just to violently force his body to master terrifyingly complex hip-hop choreography that completely clashed with his elegant, classically trained contemporary dance background. For years, his only true home was the suffocating, sweat-drenched confines of the heavily mirrored dance studio, constantly analyzing his own reflection with a harsh, mercilessly critical eye, punishing himself for microscopic, invisible mistakes that no one else could ever possibly see, and completely tying his entire self-worth to his ability to flawlessly execute mind-bending acrobatics for millions of screaming fans. But when the blinding artificial stadium lights finally shut down and the deafening, earth-shattering roar of 80,000 adoring armies fades into a ringing silence, how exactly does a man whose entire brain is hardwired to constantly perform, improve, and obsess finally find a way to just stop, breathe, and simply exist? For Jimin, the ultimate, most profoundly healing escape is not found in the loud, chaotic distraction.
Number 1. J-Hope, the kinetic soul, painting the world with every pulse of rhythm. When you witness Jung Ho-sok, the radiant, earth-shattering dance leader and the irrepressible sunshine of BTS, effortlessly commanding a massive stage with a charisma so intense it could literally ignite the air, you are witnessing the absolute, pure manifestation of human kinetic energy. A man who does not just dance to the music, but physically embodies every single frequency, every heartbeat, and every hidden emotion buried deep within the melody. J-Hope is the undisputed, relentless rhythmic backbone of the most famous group on the planet, a professional powerhouse who carries the crushing, monumental responsibility of ensuring that every single explosive performance, every intricate, gravity-defying routine, and every massive stadium tour is executed with absolute, surgically precise, and breathtaking perfection. But have you ever stopped to deeply wonder what happens to a man who literally lives and breathes at the chaotic, high-speed pace of 160 beats per minute when the music finally stops, the sweat-drenched stage is dismantled, and the deafening, earth-shattering roar of millions finally fades into a terrifying, unfamiliar silence? Does he simply sit down? Or does he find an even deeper, more complex, and profoundly artistic way to continue his rhythmic, kinetic dialogue with the world? For Hobie, the ultimate, most sacred escape is not merely a hobby, but an entire, vibrant, and fiercely colorful lifestyle dedicated to the relentless, joyful pursuit of street dance and the meticulous, deep-dive study of global dance history. A pursuit that allows him to remain perpetually connected to his most raw, unfiltered roots as a legendary underground street dancer in Gwangju. Imagine the truly staggering, deeply emotional contrast. The man who is globally idolized as the king of performance, a multi-millionaire who collaborates with the biggest pop icons on the planet, spends his rarest, most precious moments of private freedom in dimly lit, graffiti-covered underground dance studios, wearing loose, comfortable streetwear and a battered baseball cap, completely disappearing into the flow of pure, unadulterated movement. This is not just a high-energy workout or a casual, fun pastime to pass the time. It is a deeply spiritual,